I'm Kevin Jones from Ectobox, and we provide industrial intelligence solutions to manufacturing companies in the area. What I'd like to do is to talk with you today about 4 different ways that you can create value with IoT. 2 basic categories, to save money and to make more money. Within save money, we have operating products better and maintaining products better. Typically, saving money is something used by manufacturers within operations. You have machines on the plant floor and you want to be able to do more with what you have. You have a lot of challenges around the workforce, not very many people available to work and operate the machines. Costs are going up for labor as well as other things, international competition. And so you really have to dig deeper and understand how your operations are working at a much deeper level with data. And you get that by pulling data out using IoT, the Internet of Things. So at that point, once you have that data, you can understand what's going on with your machines. What is the real production? What's the real cycle time? What's the real quality? In some respects, you may have that, but you may not have enough granularity to really understand what's going on. One quick story, there was a company running 3 shifts at a machine shop with CNC machines, and one of the operators on the first shift, I believe it was running the machines, and they noticed that his production was doing okay relative to the others. But the owners, irregardless of that person and his performance, had said, let's set up an IoT solution. Let's understand what's actually going on in our operations. Didn't tell anybody, just set it up, pulled the data, observed it, and noticed that this one particular operator was really slow to get its production up to snuff, up to where it really should be. And they had a conversation with him to understand what's going on. And actually, no, they didn't have a conversation with him. What they did at that point is then to start publishing the data on a big board in the plant. And that user actually noticed what was going on. He actually saw his numbers and realized they weren't where they really should be. And so he very quickly adjusted and everything was fine. He self-regulated at that point once he actually understood what the real true numbers were. And what had happened was that he had adjusted his priorities. He felt it was appropriate to or necessary to clean the machines, clean some tools, and do some other activities from the last shift before he starts. And he realized that his priorities really should have been a little bit differently. So with his own self-adjustment and maybe a little coaching conversation from his supervisor, he actually was able to self-correct very easily. And that was just by connecting the machines, pulling some basic data, and throwing that data up on a big screen. And he was very quickly able to operate much more efficiently. So very similar situations across the board for operations and manufacturing. Also around maintaining products better. You want to keep your machines up and running as much as possible. Maintenance and reliability is a big concern. There's even an organization called SMRP, Society for Maintenance and Reliability Professionals. We're a member of that organization, and they focus on making machines reliable. To be able to do that, you need to focus on the machine's current status, its maintenance history, its setup, and a lot of other ideas. And you can start to, or what you could do is to start to to monitor the machine in its current status, look at the history of it, and look at particular pieces of data that are important around particular sources of potential failure. Just a few of them. You might pull temperature, vibration, or a few other values. And at that point, once you can actually see the trends, current status, and maybe even add some machine learning to it to get predictive, then you can actually understand when the machine's going to fail and start to repair it before it fails, rather than simply being reactive and running the thing to failure. Because at that point, on the PF curve, things get much more expensive the further down you go, closer to failure. So, a lot of opportunities to save money in manufacturing. One other to mention is for OEMs, original equipment manufacturers. They can actually get a lot of value out of monitoring their equipment that they have in the field. OEMs manufacture a particular product, sell it to a company, it's out in the field doing whatever for that particular company. The service department of the manufacturer has to provide a warranty around it. Sometimes they have to send a truck with a guy or gal that has to provide services on it. But very often what's been happening over time is that companies will send guys or gals in trucks, which is really expensive, when they don't need to be sent at all. When there's no reason, when there's nothing to actually repair. They get there and all they're there to do is to log some information on a log sheet and then drive away. And for some companies that we've talked with and worked with, oil and gas and others, you have these pieces of equipment that are out in the middle of nowhere, and you're driving for hours just to get a few pieces of data on a piece of paper. Come on. There's a lot of other ways to do this, including IoT. So let's pull data from that machine and actually understand what's going on now, what its history was, what are its critical points of failure, and then improve how that machine is running, make it more effective and more efficient, and also maintain its uptime and prevent a lot of unplanned downtime. On the category of making more money, typically this is something that's used for OEMs with their products in the field, where they'd like to make their products better. Getting data about how that product is actually used in the field is really helpful. Once they're able to get that information, they can understand if it's being used in a way that they didn't expect or being misused. And especially if it's used in a way that they didn't expect, they can realize, oh, wow, a customer actually might need this other feature. We could create this other feature, maybe charge more, or at least be more valuable to the customer, differentiate ourselves from the competition. And around the make new products, understanding how the products are used, what products fit and don't fit for this particular situation for a customer. And then at that point, maybe start to understand, well, this particular product didn't work here for this customer, but we could create another product. But now that we understand what they really need, and this new product is even more valuable, and then we could charge more money or create a closer relationship with the customer, et cetera. And then increase sales and make more money that way. But one of the really interesting things that happens at this point, once you're getting all of this data, especially for OEMs, is that you're able to create a much closer relationship with your customer because you're continually improving your products. You're getting data on those products and improving those products relative to how they're actually used for that customer. You become much stickier with your customer, so there's a lower chance of them leaving you. And then let's actually take it even a little bit further. At that point, so as an OEM, you create a much better relationship with your customer. But also, once you're able to do this, then you have the opportunity to start selling your product as a service because you know how it's going to run in the field. Once you understand that, you can actually start to transition to a new business model where you're selling that product as a product, which means budgets, decisions, long sales process, etc. Why not start to sell it as a service where it moves from being an item on your customer's balance sheet to, for your customer at least, it becomes an expense on their income statement or their profit and loss statement. So for them, forget the balance sheet and push it over to an income statement. Then at that point, you get much more money coming back as cash. You increase your monthly recurring revenue, and you have a really nice solid cash flow. You might even be able to increase your margins a little bit. And then again, you continue to create a much closer relationship with your customers. And we even get into more interesting topics where you can, when you're moving from product to service, after that, then you can create a much better relationship with them and move to an outcomes-based business model, which is a completely different topic, and we can cover it maybe in another video. But again, I just wanted to give you a sense of the 4 ways to create value with IoT and how to do it. 2 ways under saving money, principally for operations in manufacturing, at least in our world as manufacturing. Also a little bit for service departments within the OEMs. And then being able to make more money is really focused on OEMs as well. Thank you.